All right, welcome back to our members only for our members, obviously. So I ran out of time, and it was perfect because I've got a little nugget here for our paying members, and it's on the really hard work that I call them online sleuths, but they're not just online sleuths. Like James Lee, for instance, is an actual journalist, and he does really great work. They looked into who sent this text message to Charlie Kirk. So we're gonna give you the details of what they found. And guys, they're the ones who did the work. I wanna really make sure that they get the credit for it. I did no sleuthing. I did some research to see what people found, but other than that, they're the ones who did the heavy lifting. So with that in mind, let me set this up. So earlier, I shared with you a text message that Candace Owens had obtained. It was a text message that was sent to Charlie Kirk before he was assassinated. And it was from an individual who was very upset at the fact that Charlie Kirk allowed Tucker Carlson to speak at a Turning Point USA event last summer. Now, this individual told Charlie Kirk to be very careful, and it had a threatening tone to it. So I wanted to know, well, first of all, is this text message real? And it appears it is real. No one has pushed back to claim that it's fake. And more importantly, you have various people online, independent journalists like James Lee, and some of the smaller accounts on X who do a lot of sleuthing, just going to work to figure out who sent this message to Charlie Kirk. And I think what they came up with has a lot of credibility, although I want to be clear, it is not confirmed. However, there is a lot of evidence here that leads me to believe that they've got the right person. However, I don't know for sure. This is all alleged. Now, let's talk a little bit about this woman by the name of Lori Cardoza-Moore, who I had never heard of before. I wish I lived in a world where I never had to hear about her. Well, she actually had put out a video complaining about the Turning Point USA event from last summer. And she did so the exact same way she did in her allegedly her text message to Charlie, if it was in fact her who sent it. Let's watch.
I had 3 couples reach out to me who had been to the Turning Point USA conference. And this was in Tampa a couple weeks ago. They called me and said they were horrified by what they saw. Horrified. They saw Tucker Carlson get up and act like another crazy person, talking, condemning Israel, praising Qatar with his mocking voice and his mocking laughter. So Tucker gets up and speaks at this conference in Tampa, TPUSA, and right after him comes Michelle Bachmann. When she starts talking in that conference about supporting Israel and why America should stand with Israel, the people in the audience start booing her. I spoke with her personally. She said 10% in the room got up and walked out on her. That is shameful.
Now, if you go back and listen to Candace Owens read the text message, I mean, it was almost exactly what you just heard in the video we watched, right? Complained about Tucker Carlson, complained about his speech, mentioned Michelle Bachmann and the poor reception she received, which I think is hilarious and well-deserved. I love the fact that 10% of the audience got up and walked out. So, all right, but that could just be a coincidence. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. However, you do also, there's also, what about Charlie, right? Like, did she say anything about Charlie Kirk in any of these videos, right? Because the message that she might have sent Charlie Kirk, the text message in question, seemed to be a little bit threatening toward Charlie. Like, what does this Cardoza-Moore woman think about Charlie? Does she say anything about him in this video? Let's take a look.
Then Charlie Kirk, this is his event. He's responsible for what people are saying and doing. Does he get up and condemn Tucker or correct Tucker for what he said about Israel and how dangerous Qatar is to us? No. Did Charlie get up and defend Michelle Bachmann? Did he condemn the people that got up and walked out on her, that booed her? Did he say why we stand with Israel, we support Israel? No, he didn't. That tells us everything we need to know.
Oh, that tells you everything you need to know. Well, what did you need to know? That he's not lockstep with you on your weird devotion to Israel at any and all costs? Like even if she's not the person who sent Charlie the text message, and I personally think she was, you're a bad person in that you are willing to throw away your fellow Americans if they're not in lockstep with you on a foreign country. Like, these people are in a cult. We realize that, right? Like, she's in a cult. She's a psychopath. I'll give you more details about who she is in just a minute. I believe she's a psychopath. Now, there's more though, because so far we've looked at these videos. In the videos, she seems to say exactly what she said in the text message that was sent to Charlie Kirk. By the way, let me just note that Qatar is an ally of the United States, which is why we have a massive military base in Qatar. So this effort by Zionists to try to get the US government to sour on Qatar is so unbearably stupid. So please don't allow anyone to convince you that Qatar is our enemy, because they're not. And again, we have the largest military base in Qatar as we speak. Nonetheless, we haven't confirmed that this is the woman who sent the message to Charlie. I am speculating that she is, though, because of other reasons as well. So we just saw that video. Now, there's also some interesting stuff being reported in the Jerusalem Post. So this is from June 18th of 2025. This is prior to Tucker Carlson's speech. She was already furious about Tucker being critical of Israel and how it's carrying out a genocide. And so here's what the headline of the Jerusalem Post piece says. Tucker Carlson, quote, begged evangelical leader to apologize for calling him an anti-Semite, exclusive. So let's just be clear that she's the one who characterized Tucker as begging. And I wouldn't trust her if my life depended on it. But the article also, again, predates the TPUSA speech that took place in July. And the comment she made about Tucker was this: Tucker Carlson's anti-Semitism does not reflect the values of the Trump administration. She then asked Trump to ban Tucker Carlson from the White House over his blatant anti-Semitism. Okay, so who is this woman, right? What's her background? What does she do? Well, she's the head of a pro-Israel organization known as Proclaiming Justice to the Nations. It's just an organization that operates on behalf of Israel here in the United States. She is evangelical, although she was raised Catholic, and she says that she has Jewish ancestry. In 2015, she led the push for Tennessee to become the first state in our nation to essentially pass these anti-boycott divest laws, and that is a violation of our First Amendment right. Of course, you should be able to boycott whatever the hell you want, but Tennessee did pass a law that basically penalizes involvement in the BDS movement. After that, 38 US states followed suit, which is so depressing, and no one seems to care about that violation of our constitutional rights. On September 21st of last year, and that was only 11 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, the Jerusalem Post actually named her the number 2 top Christian Zionist in America. So she's like zealous about what she does. There's no question about that. And then in November of last year, she resigned from the Heritage Foundation because she didn't like the fact that one of the figures in leadership at the Heritage Foundation defended Tucker Carlson and said that he's not an anti-Semite. So now, what are the other reasons why I think that she's the woman behind this text message? Well, if you go back and you look at the text message itself, you'll notice that she does that weird thing where she doesn't spell out God. She does the G-D. And if you look at other posts on social media where the word God comes up, she does the same thing. Again, that could just be another coincidence. But honestly, for me, what James Lee found is what convinced me that she was the one who sent this text message to Charlie Kirk. Again, it's not confirmed. This is speculation, but based on the evidence we've seen, I believe that she's the one. Without further ado, here is journalist James Lee.
So I did a search for that passage, and I was able to find this podcast, Olive Tree Ministries, Understanding the Times with Jan Merkel, and she interviews Lori Cardoza-Moore in this particular podcast. Let's take a listen.
One of my favorite scriptures to go back to when I speak with Christians who espouse this theology or this doctrine, God told the prophet Obadiah that in the latter days he was going to wipe out the descendants of Edom. Now, Jan, you and I agree. We're living in the last days. This is a prophetic word for last days. And he told Obadiah that in the last days he's going to wipe out the nation or the descendants of Edom because they stood by while their brother Jacob or Israel was held in captivity and they did nothing.
Okay, that is, almost word for word what the text said. Let's go back one more time. God warned us in the last days that he will wipe out the descendants of Edom because they stood by while their brother Jacob or Israel was held in captivity and did nothing.
So I highly recommend watching the full video that James Lee put out because he even did analysis into just how obscure that passage is. Like no one cites that passage in their defense of Israel. So that does kind of make her unique. And there's one other thing I wanted to bring up because again, she has put out several videos trashing Charlie Kirk. She seems a little bit obsessed. And so I want to just provide one more example. This is an example that I clipped out from James Lee's reporting. It's a lengthy video that he put out. It's very well done. Again, just want to encourage you to please watch his video as well. But with that in mind, here is what he featured in terms of more of her content attacking Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk finally responded after 4 months to my question about his view of isolationism and how it is fueling anti-Semitism. And in Charlie's final response to me, he basically threatened me because I called him out and said he was violating the 9th commandment. And you all know the 9th commandment? It's bearing false witness against your brother. There's a term used in Judaism called lashon hara.
If that isn't the smoking gun, I don't know what is.
I mean, she used similar wording in her text message to Charlie. If she's the one who sent it, wink, wink, in her text message to Charlie Kirk. She's a bad person. And you shouldn't be smearing people as anti-Semites, which can destroy people's lives. And they know that. That's why they do it. That's the only thing they have. That's the only weapon they use. Because they can't use the truth. You can't use the truth. How are you going to use the truth when you see Israel slaughtering all these innocent people? So you weaponize anti-Semitism or false claims of anti-Semitism in order to shut people up. That's what she's up to. She's no friend to our constitutional rights. I would be shocked if she even gave a damn about this country. And yeah, I'm accusing her of even worse than dual loyalty. I think she's more loyal to a foreign country than she is to the United States of America. I think she's a scumbag. Sorry, that's what I think.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.